First off, I want to apologize to the public for the late start. We had a briefing beforehand that went a little bit long, so we're going to go ahead and get started right away. Got a pretty full agenda this evening, and I'd like to ask City Attorney Chris Ambrosio to read the statements on CMT.
Thank you, Mayor. Governor DeSantis' executive order number 20-193 has extended his authorization for local government bodies to conduct its meetings without an in-person quorum at any specific location and permits them to hold meetings using communications media technology, CMT. On April 6, 2020, City of Jacksonville Beach City Council approved at their public meeting the use of CMT and alternative start times to conduct the council meetings and briefings. Accordingly, this city council meeting is being held in a modified manner using CMT. The council, staff, and public are not physically present in City Hall. In a moment, I will explain the CMT procedures and adaptations for public attendance and public comment that have been put in place for this meeting. The city council members and city personnel are all appearing through use of CMT. Mayor, you have that the meeting will be opened with an invocation.
Yep, I think Mr. Phil's going to be doing that.
Yes, sir.
That's what we're saying.
Ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Lord, please be with us tonight as we make decisions for the betterment of our community. Bless those serving in our military, both here and abroad, and be with our first responders as they protect us and keep us safe. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And if you would please rise and face the nearest flag for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor, if I could just read the portion regarding CMT.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, Mayor, the city provided the following CMT options and instructions to the public and noticed the public in ways that they can view, participate, and attend and listen to the city council meeting. The city has provided the public with an opportunity to view and listen via live stream on the City of Jacksonville Beach YouTube channel, and we provided the access link to that channel using Zoom technology. The city provided an opportunity for the public to listen to the meeting via phone, and we provided the dial-in number and ID number for that, and also provided hearing or speech impaired access numbers. We provided that the public may submit questions and comments concerning any scheduled agenda item or also for the courtesy of the floor portion of the agenda. We provided that those comments could be submitted via email to the city clerk. We provided her address, her email address. It could be sent via US mail to the city clerk at City Hall. We provided that address. We provided that the comments could also be dropped off at the main entrance drop box in front of City Hall. We asked members of the public to provide their full name and address, and city business owners to list the business name and address. The city also provided a public comment submission form on the Jacksonville Beach website. Those submissions submitted via the public comment submission form will be provided or will be read by the clerk, and written comments that are received are limited to a 3-minute reading time. Members of the public also have the opportunity to dial in or utilize Zoom technology, and we provided the link information to that CMT, and we will be limiting the speakers through that method to 3 minutes. We provided all of the information on how the public can access and utilize that method of CMT. And we also stated that email addresses and online comments will remain open during the meeting, so that the public's comments can be accepted and read into the record up until 5 minutes before a particular agenda item is addressed by the mayor, and will be accepted up until 5 minutes before the mayor opens the public comments for courtesy of the floor portion. So due to all of these CMT options that we've made available in compliance with the governor's order, I feel like we have provided the public with ample opportunity to attend, view, listen, and participate. And Mayor, I'd like to remind the city council members that they should refrain from utilizing sending, reading, or receiving texts or any other electronic device to communicate amongst themselves and other members, or to communicate with non-members or third parties. We just need to avoid any perception that there has been communication taking place that's not open and part of the public discussion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We've already called the meeting to order, so Madam Clerk, if we get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Doherty,
Here.
Councilmember Demont, Councilmember Golding,
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Here.
Councilmember Nichols,
Here.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Here.
Mayor Latham.
Here. And let's move ahead with item 165, please.
I move that we approve the minutes from the budget workshop held on August 10th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? No opposed. By your action, motion carries. 166, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the budget workshop held on August 11th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate by the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 167, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the council briefing held on August 17th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion or debate by the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 168, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular council meeting held on August 17th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion or debate by the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. And announcements. Ms. Hoffman.
Some of you might have noticed that our white fence around the history park over here at the Beaches Museum was getting a little run down. We had planned a paint the fence event for April, but had to cancel it for obvious reasons. But we had a eureka moment recently and realized that an outside painting of a 1,200-foot long fence is the perfect opportunity for a socially distanced service event. So we had that on Friday and Saturday, and we had more than 90 volunteers come out from Rotaract to Interact to Rotary, Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol, Boy Scouts, and all sorts of other individuals, and got the whole thing painted inside and out, which is about half a mile of fence total. So it's looking really good, and a lot of people drive by it every day on their way into our city. So it's really a nice point of pride. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting. Our gala is going virtual. Our Beach Legends event will be on September 18th. One of our honorees is the family of Pete and Helen Dickinson, and that name should be well known to anybody in Jacksonville Beach as some pretty early members of our community, both civic, business, and political. One of the places you may remember that they owned is Shuckers, which became Buckets. It's now an empty lot, but that was one of their pieces of property. So they've been a big part of our community for a lot of years. So we're really excited to honor them, as well as Ed Malin, who you know from Angie's Grom, and Jackie Rooney, the Shoreline's social columnist. So anybody can watch that. It's free to attend, and I hope that you all will. It's a pretty fascinating look at these individuals.
Thank you very much, and good job on the fence. Okay, anybody, I don't see anybody else with a hand up, so we'll move to courtesy of the floor. Jacob, do you have anybody that's called in for courtesy of the floor?
Nobody calling in.
And Madam Clerk, any emails?
Yes, sir, I have one, just came in.
Okay,
Okay, this is from Fernando Meza, 607 7th Avenue South, Jacks Beach, 32250. He states, "Good evening, City Manager, Mayor, and council members. We the people are fed up with the City of Jacksonville reaping the benefits of certain businesses having to shut down at midnight in Jacksonville Beach. We are grateful DBPR allowed us to open our doors with our 509 license, but we are now past the 2-month mark of closing at midnight, while businesses in Jacksonville remain open until 2 a.m. The governor knows bars were given the chance to open if we got a 509 license, and he is looking to reopen bars in the future. But for Jacksonville Beach, we respectfully ask to allow us to serve and stay open until 2 a.m. while we adhere to the CDC guidelines that have been implemented. Mayor, you have the authority along with the city manager to help these businesses that have struggled since March 17th. And from what a staffer from Governor DeSantis' office told me is that you don't need to wait on him about reopening the bars when we are already open and adhering to the policies. Respectfully, please help the businesses out, and if it helps on your decision, the service industry is no longer in the peak season. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any others?
No, sir, that was it.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move forward to city manager item 169. City manager, do you want to brief us on that one?
I do, thank you. This first item in front of you is city council representation for the Florida League of Cities, both for participation on legislative policy committees as well as attendance at the Florida League of Cities conference in November. Every year, the Florida League of Cities puts together policy committees that help shape the priorities for the upcoming year that they not only publish, but they publicize and lobby up at the state legislature for. This year, there are 5 committees, as is typical, and one of our council members, Councilmember Golding, has applied for and been accepted to participate on the Municipal Administration Policy Committee. The intention of the Florida League of Cities is to have the first of the 3 meetings be done virtually, the second meeting potentially be virtual or in person, and the third meeting potentially be done virtually or in person as part of a larger multi-day conference in Orlando. We did also have one additional request from Councilmember Dumont to actually attend the meeting in November if it is held in person. So what I'm looking for tonight with this particular item is authorization from City Council for Councilmember Golding to represent the city on the Municipal Administration Policy Committee, and for authorization for both council members Dumont and Golding to attend the meeting if it is held in person in November.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a motion, please?
I move that we authorize.
Before you make that motion, I would like to make or suggest an amendment to the requested action that's on the agenda on page 2. My apologies for not mentioning this in the presentation. It would read authorize Councilor Golding authorize Councilor Golding to participate in the Florida League of Cities Municipal Administration Legislative Policy Committee meetings, and for Councilors Golding and Dumont to attend the Florida League of City Legislative Conference November 12th and 13th on behalf of the city.
Before I make that motion, can I just ask a question? Or because the question is with regards to adding Councilmember Dumont.
Yep.
So is it typical for cities to send more than one person to that specific conference?
It varies from city to city. Some people, the whole council goes, some just the mayor goes. So there's no standard answer.
Okay.
I've been to all of them for the last 8 years.
Okay.
This one must have been Las Vegas, is it?
They're always in Florida. That's one thing you can count on. So, Madam Clerk, do you have the modified motion?
I haven't made the motion yet.
No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I just want to make sure that we make the change before we make the motion and that the wording is correct in the change. So using the city manager's summary, do you have what you need?
I have it. Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ms. Hoffman, are you prepared to brief the new motion or raise the new motion?
Sure. I move to authorize Councilmember Golding to participate in the Florida League of Cities Municipal Administration Legislative Policy Committee committee meetings and for Councilmember Golding and Councilmember Dumont to attend the Florida League of Cities Legislative Conference November 12th and 13th, 2020 on behalf of the city.
Nicely done. Got a motion and a second. Now the floor is open for any discussion or debate by the council. Seeing none. Oh, Ms. Hoffman.
Wasn't part of that supposed to be if it was available in person? Was that included in the motion?
It didn't sound like it was included in the
I'm
motion.
sorry, is she attending either way, in person or virtually?
Yeah, she is. So I think it's.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, but I think city manager did mention that a couple times. I just want to make sure it's in there if we needed it. We needed it in there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Ms. Hoffman, you have something else?
I wanted to thank Councilmember Golding for volunteering for this committee. I think it is a really great idea. And I know that Mayor Latham's been very active, as well as Mayor Glasser and some others at Florida League of Cities. I think it's only a benefit to us. I'm a little hesitant on this just because we're going to have an entirely new city council, or not an entirely new, but a largely new city council by this time. But I do think it is a good one to have some representation at. I would also like to see us in the future, and I don't think we've done it yet, formally adopt the League of Cities legislative priorities as our own legislative priorities, or part of whatever, because we do go over there and we are asked to advocate on behalf of those. So if we could put our, the official stamp of the city on those issues as well, I think that would just give it even more weight. So hopefully after this conference, we'll be able to put the legislative agenda in front of our body for approval and support.
Thank you. Mr. Doherty.
Yeah, one would hope that the future mayor, whoever that may be, would continue what you've done, Mr. Latham, regarding representing us at these affairs. I mean, I can see a lot of issues coming up in the next few years regarding local municipalities in the state, with particular finances. The state's budget is going to be decimated because of COVID. And they're going to be looking for cities like ours to try and make up the shortcomings. So it's good to have, intelligent representation at these meetings. So, I fully support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nichols?
Could we also include whomever is elected mayor at that time for them to have an option to attend that as well?
Mike, what
Seeing that you've done it the last few years, I mean, it's pretty important.
I would say it's standard for the mayors to show up, and also because they also run concurrently with the League of Mayors meetings. And
you could certainly include that language in an amendment to the motion. I would caution that there is a possibility that the election will not be certified by the dates of November 12th and 13th. So I'm not sure how that would play out.
Okay. Well,
I welcome that amendment, Corey. I would second that if you want to make a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion to amend the current amendment to add language to state the current mayor as well as the others may attend. I don't have it verbatim in front of me, the original one.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion other than Mr. Nichols? Did you want to continue to add, or can we take your hand down? Anybody else? So the motion is to include the mayor as a participant in the meetings, along with the two that have been identified. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and now we'll go back to the original motion. Is there any discussion on the original motion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and Mr. Stefopoulos, is the city prepared to discuss 170?
Yes, we are, Mayor. This next item is replacement of Lift Station 2, which is one of the city's master lift stations. Doing so with full reconstruction. I'll turn it over to our Public Works, Dennis Barron, who will talk just a little bit about it, and I believe we also have a picture to share.
Yes, Mayor and Council, thank you very much again for allowing me to be here and present this item. Lift Station 2 is one of our old stations in town, obviously. Number 2 would be the first clue. It was originally constructed in 1946. We have on the plans to be able to update this station, which is one of our master lift stations. So we have other lift stations around the city that feed into this lift station, and then this lift station pushes on to the PCP plant. So this was an original budgeted item several years ago. It's now kind of being finally getting to fruition with construction. So we did competitively bid this to 15 different contractors. We received 5 contractors submitting bids for it. I think the original estimate was around 1.5 million. So this come in slightly higher. I think the engineers' explanation of cost, a lot of what they attribute the additional costing to was COVID-19 as well as materials. So the original estimate was around 1.5. The total, including the CNA services with Jones Edmonds, is a total of 2.142 million. And we're ready to get rolling on this project if you have any questions.
Thank you, Dennis. Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a motion, please?
I move that we award bid number 1920-07 lift station number 2 replacement to Intercounty Engineering Inc. for construction services and authorize construction administration services with the project design firm Jones Edmonds as described in the memorandum from the Public Works City Engineer dated August 27th, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Floor is open for debate or discussion. First, Mr. Doherty.
Thank you. I just had 2 quick questions. The time frame for the completion of this project, I don't see that listed. And then also, will there be any interruption to the residents in that location?
I know they will be collecting materials and getting things ready to start as soon as we possibly can on this project. They will do some bypass pumping as they have to, but it shouldn't affect anybody in the area for any of the stuff other than some of the construction that's involved in this. Like I said, there is some, I think 744 feet of water main, as well as some 433 feet of 16-inch sewer force main to be replaced. So as we put those utilities in, there might be some effect with roadway or with construction or with traffic. But other than that, there shouldn't be any effect whatsoever on too much of service whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the answer.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and Mr. Stefopoulos, is the staff prepared to brief us on 171, please?
We are. The next item continues with authorizations for the Public Works Department. In particular, this is going to seek award of RFP for graffiti abatement services. Public Works Department is looking for award to multiple firms this year. And here to talk about it again is Public Works Director Barron.
Again, we bid this through a competitive process as we have before. We have made the decision to award to two separate contractors. While this, the primary contractor, BioTrades Chemical, and people know him as Chemical Pete, is continuing on. He's done fantastic work. He continues to have items that he uses as a proactive treatment to help stickers not stick on signs and graffiti not to stick up. However, due to some of the costing of the secondary bidder and some of the ideas behind how they were trying to do, we kind of opened this up to decide that they wanted to award it to two separate contracts to be able to be used. So we kind of have both of them here in front of you. I know it's a lot of material to go through, but we are, like I said, we are extending the contract basically with our existing contractor that we have been using.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, could we please get a motion?
I move that we award proposal number 06-1920 graffiti abatement continuous services for 36 months to the highest ranked respondent, BioTrades Chemical Inc. primary and Crystal Companies doing business as Crystal Clean alternate, and authorize the city manager to extend the contract from 1 year through 2 years length each for a total contract length not to exceed 5 years.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion or debate, and Mr. Doherty, you're recognized.
Oh, that was from the last time, but I'll go anyway. So I need to remember to put that hand on. I just had a question, Dennis. How does this work? Because they're charging an hourly rate, but and then you said one of the companies is proactive. Do they wait for graffiti to be attached to services and then go out and clean it? Or I just wanted to know how the actual contract works. Do we call them up, or are they patrolling the beach looking for graffiti? What happens if there's a graffiti outbreak and they have to do a lot of work? I mean, how do we keep within the parameters of an hourly rate for this type of yearly contract?
And generally, this contract basically allows us to open a PO with them to be used as we either identify areas, as in, like you said, if we all of a sudden see a graffiti outbreak, we're going to engage them to come in and clean up what's here, as well as proactively coat our signs and some of the other stuff in the area to keep stuff from being able to stick to it. It's pretty much the downtown area that gets hit the hardest, of course, obviously. So it's pretty easy. We've got guys patrolling it all day. When we see it pop up, we just engage them. So it's just rather than each individual time trying to figure out who we're going to use, we just put in place a contract that opens the PO to allow us to make the call.
Okay. I mean, I have noticed in the past couple of years that the graffiti seems to be lessening, and there's a lot less of the stickers, especially I think for a while we went through a Townies Go Home period. So it's good to actually see that, the company's doing its job. So I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Yes, sir. With the, of course, with the pubs not giving free stickers away anymore, the stickers kind of help slow themselves down a little bit. When somebody's got to pay for $1 or $2 for a sticker, they're not going to be too quick to slap it on a sign outside their establishment. So that does help.
I've never heard of pubs giving stickers out, but I'll take your word for it. Tongue in cheek. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilman Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yeah. Yes.
Golding,
yes,
Hoffman,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And 172, Mr. Stefopoulos.
This next item is looking to do an upgrade to the Beaches Energy Services SCADA systems, both their hardware and software. SCADA being the supervisory control and data acquisition systems that control the Beaches Energy system remotely. Here to speak a little bit on that issue is Alan Putnam, the Beaches Energy Services Director.
Hey, Alan.
His power's been cut off.
You're still
And
muted.
filling in for Alan Putnam tonight will be Matt Seeley from Beaches Energy.
Hey, good evening. I appreciate it. Yes, so this is the nervous system, and I'm really pleased to say that what we initially budgeted for this line item, we've saved a significant amount. And the reason there is just that initially we were thinking that we were wanting to possibly look at changing systems, and in the end we decided, working with ACS very diligently, and they were very aggressive to get us this. We're basically going to get a top of the line system for the amount, and the contingency is basically what we're confident in ACS's ability. They're intimately familiar with our system, so the initial quote should be pretty accurate. What we did, working with the budget officer, decided to put in a contingency to make sure that it's an IT project, and you don't know what you don't know until you get into it. So, but we do feel really confident that the actual number they quoted us.
Great, thank you, Matt. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, could we please get a motion?
I move that we approve a purchase order in the amount of $158,346 with a 20% contingency for a total of $190,015.20 to fund the upgrade of our advanced control system, supervisory control, and data acquisition system hardware and software.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate from the council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Golding,
yes,
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and Madam Clerk, if you would please read resolution number 2065-2020 by title only, please.
A resolution by the City Council of the City of Jacksonville Beach establishing rules, procedures, and protocols for the City Council live public meetings and briefings during the period of the declared public health emergency caused by COVID-19, providing for adoption of recitals and legislative findings, repeal of inconsistent resolutions and City Council decisions, severability, directions to the City Clerk, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Stefopoulos, are you briefing this, or is Mr. Ambrosio?
I'll do the quick intro, and obviously if there's questions, they can be directed to the city attorney. This is basically a resolution that follows up on a previous briefing that we had with City Council, where we felt it would be best to basically ratify by resolution how meetings would be conducted when they're going to be held back in person again. It is staff's belief or thought process at this point in time that there's a possibility in the month of October, we would be required to start conducting our city council meetings in person. We wanted to make sure that the way in which we hold those meetings would still recognize the use of alternative means of communication for the public, as well as maintaining social distancing within the council chambers for public health, safety, and welfare. The city attorney incorporated the input from that council briefing into the resolution that's presented for you tonight. And if there's any questions or recommended changes, I'm sure Chris would have no problem making those amendments as necessary.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a motion, please?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2065-2020 to establish and implement rules, procedures, and protocols for City Council meetings and briefings that are held during any state, county, or City of Jacksonville Beach declared emergency during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any debate by the council or questions for Chris? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Golding,
yes,
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And Madam Clerk, if you would please read ordinance number 2020-8147, second reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 19 nuisances of the City of Jacksonville Beach Code of Ordinances to reflect best practices, regulations, standards, and procedures for code enforcement of public nuisance abatement, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its second reading. I'll now open the public hearing on the ordinance 2020-8147. Is there anybody, Jacob, from this outside that's got a phone call?
There's not.
Madam Clerk, do you have any emails?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and request a motion to adopt the ordinance as read by title, please.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8147 to revise, amend, and add new sections to City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, Public Nuisance Abatement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We're going to open the floor to the council after I hear Chris Ambrosio's got his hand up. So we're going to give City Attorney a chance to say a few words here.
Mayor, I thank you. I just wanted to add that the Code Enforcement Department and I are working on a nuisance abatement lien reduction policy. Councilman Vogelsang mentioned that he'd like to see that worked on. We may not be able to finish it by the end of this year, but we are working on it. Code Enforcement is lending a hand as to what language would help the city best. So I just wanted to inform Mr. Vogelsang that we are working on that policy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the floor is open for debate or discussion from the council. Anybody have anything? Seeing none, can we get a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And shifting to the next one. Sorry for the delay. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2020-8148, second reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance to create Chapter 20 Parks, Recreation, and Beach and associated sections of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to provide uniform and park specified codified local laws, rules, and regulations, and specified authority and enforcement actions concerning the city's parks, park properties, and beach, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, this ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its second reading. I will now open the floor to public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8148. Jacob, do we have any call-ins?
We do not.
Madam Clerk, do we have any emails?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and request a motion to adopt the title as written, please.
Mayor, if I may interrupt, I apologize. I have my hand raised. There's one issue with Chapter 20 in that I recently discussed Chapter 20 as we've drafted it here, ready for council to review and approve upon second reading. But we talked about Chapter 6, beaches and bulkhead of our Code of Ordinances. And Jason and I have spoken today, communicated today, and we would like some additional time council would allow for us to reconsider possibly merging or working in Chapter 6, beaches and bulkhead language with Chapter 20, or taking certain portions of this proposed Chapter 20 out and putting it into Chapter 6, beaches and bulkhead. We're contemplating separating the two, so we would need a little extra time.
So you're thinking that we table this for now?
Yes, sir. So I was going to ask council, Your Honor, if you don't mind, we table this for now.
Does anybody object to tabling?
Move to table.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion by the council. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? By your action, motion carries. This will be tabled to the next meeting. Does that give you enough time, Chris? Next
No,
council.
Mayor, it won't. It won't. We'll have to bring it back up in the next 2 or 3 meetings. So,
Okay, we'll wait to hear from you on when it's coming.
okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, if you would. We just tabled 175, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. So we're moving on. Madam Clerk, if you would please read ordinance number 2020-8145, first reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance to revise chapters 12 and 34 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to adopt.
You're muted, Madam Clerk.
Lori, you need to unmute.
Takes me a second. Sorry. I was rolling right through it.
Well, now you got the practice behind you, so you should be able to roll right again.
There we go. Okay, an ordinance to revise chapters 12 and 34 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to adapt the city's code to new Florida statute section 509.102 concerning mobile food dispensing vehicles, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. This ordinance for the amendment is for the amendment of the Land Development Code is being heard by the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. Under the laws of the state of Florida, an ordinance which changes the actual list of permitted, conditional, or prohibited uses within a zoning category, or which otherwise changes the text of the Land Development Code, is a quasi-legislative proceeding. Quasi-legislative proceeding means that the governing body is acting in its rulemaking capacity. It's the duty of the council to arrive at sound decisions regarding the use of the property within the city. This includes receiving citizen input regarding the proposed uses within a zoning category. The application has been reviewed by staff and by the Planning Commission for consistency with other portions of the Land Development Code and the Comprehensive Plan. Council may hear from all interested parties in the legislative determination of an amendment to the text of the Land Development Code. The council's decision on a text amendment application is based on the criteria set forth in section 34-211 of the Land Development Code. Each member of the council has been provided a copy of the criteria. I'll also open the public hearing on 2020-8145. And please recognize that this ordinance is predominantly amends chapter 12, the food and food products of the city code of ordinances, in which the Land Development Code is not being changed. And a quasi-legislative proceedings is not required, but the ordinance also makes a few minor changes to chapter 34 Land Development Code. So the quasi-judicial legislative proceedings is being utilized for these purposes and these questions, these portions of the ordinance limited to and regarding chapter 34. That was a curveball. Okay, at this time I'll ask, is there someone that's going to speak on behalf of the applicant or the city?
I guess I'll take point. We're talking with regards to mobile food vendor vehicles. The city attorney briefed council a few briefings ago about the fact that there were changes in state statute. And as a result, the city needed to amend its mobile food truck ordinances to comply with state statute. So the city attorney has prepared this ordinance accordingly. And Mr. Ambrosio, I'm sure, can answer any questions if you have for him.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So I'm going to close the, first I'm going to check, see, is there anybody that Jacob has called in on this item?
There is not.
Madam Clerk, did you get any emails?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And before requesting, sorry, guys. There we go. Before requesting a motion on this ordinance, beginning with myself, each of the members is requested to indicate for the record both the names of the persons and the substance of any ex parte communications regarding this application. An ex parte communication refers to any meeting or discussion with a person or a citizen who may have an interest in the decision which occurred outside the public hearing process. We'll start with myself, and then I'll go down that line of who's on the machine here. And the answer for me is I have had no communication, no ex parte communication. Ms. Hoffman,
None.
Ms. Golding,
I've had none.
Mr. Nichols,
None.
Mr. Vogelsang,
None.
Mr. Doherty.
I've had none.
Okay, that's everybody, right? Okay, this time I'd like to request a motion.
Councilmember Georgette Dumont has joined the meeting. I don't know if you wanted to include her on that one.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Georgette, are you
Hi.
back?
I'm back. Wonderful class. No,
Okay.
no
No
ex parte
ex parte.
communication.
Okay, thank you.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8145 to revise and amend the city's code of ordinances, chapter 12 and 34 to conform and comply with Florida statute section 509.102.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, and before opening the floor for discussion or questions by the council, please be reminded that our decision will be based on criteria set forth in the Land Development Code, staff's report, the recommendation of Planning Commission, and with public input at all hearings. Gonna go ahead and open the floor to the council. Is there anybody that'd like to debate or discuss this issue? This ordinance? Ms. Golding.
I just want to make a comment that this is one of those situations where the state has preempted us and taken away our ability to do what we feel we should be doing in our community. And this is one of the things I hope that we can try to address in the next legislative session. Maybe not particularly this issue, but in future issues that come before the legislature.
Well said. Anyone else? Okay, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Oh, just kidding.
You did a motion, right? We read the, yeah.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Okay, Madam Clerk, if you would please read ordinance number 2020-18149, first reading, public hearing by title only, please. For clarification, that was 2020-8149.
An ordinance to amend Plan Unit Development, PUD ordinance number 99-7765, establishing a Plan Unit Development, PUD zoning district, supplementing the comprehensive zoning regulations and zoning atlas for the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, as provided under Chapter 34 of the Code of Ordinances of said city.
Okay, and once again, this ordinance to amend this PUD zoning regulations of a property is before this council for public hearing for consideration on its first reading. Under the laws of the state of Florida, an application to amend a zoning regulation governing a property is handled as a quasi-judicial proceeding. Quasi-judicial proceeding means that the governing body is now functioning in a manner similar to a court, with the mayor and the council sitting as impartial decision makers, hearing testimony and questioning presenters who are to provide substantial and competent evidence to support their side of the issue. It is the duty of the council to arrive at sound decisions regarding the use of the property within the city. This includes receiving citizen input regarding the proposed use of on the neighborhood, especially where the input is fact-based and not a simple expression of opinion. It's the applicant's burden to demonstrate that their application is consistent with the land development code and the comprehensive plan. If the applicant is successful in showing consistency, then it is up to local government to produce competent, substantial evidence of record that the application should be denied. The council's decision on a zoning amendment application is based on the criteria set forth in section 34.211 of the Land Development Code. Each member of the council has been provided a copy of the criteria. In addition, the council has received a copy of the application and the staff and planning commission reports on this PUD zoning amendment request. Now going to open the public hearing. And is someone from the city going to act or speak on behalf of the ordinance, or is there someone there?
Yes, we have senior planner Heather Ireland, who will speak a little bit to the intent of the modification to the planned unit development. And we also have a graphic. Jacob, if you'd be willing to throw that up on the screen. And Heather, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for putting the graphic up. So on the map that's on your screen, you'll see two different sets of buildings. The ones that are highlighted in yellow is the Isabella office planned unit development. And that consists of 5 buildings and a vacant lot. That is the subject of this application and ordinance. Those were rezoned in 1999. And the 6 buildings that are on the east side of Isabella Boulevard, it's the Osceola Professional Center PUD. Those were rezoned in 2011. As it stands now, they currently have 2 separate lists of permitted uses. The current property owner owns all of this commercial property, wants to have some consistency with which uses are allowed, both for make it less complicated for himself, his tenants, and it also helps us when we're looking at a property address, a tenant space, and trying to figure out if that use is permitted there. So this would clear up all the permitted uses that are allowed in these 2 sets of buildings. That list is provided for you with the ordinance as attachment A. The list of uses that are proposed for the 5 buildings and the vacant lot on the west side of Isabella are identical to the ones in the 6 buildings on the east side. And there's currently no issues with the mix of uses there. They're just trying to kind of make it easier for everyone. I would be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has about this proposal.
Thank you, Heather. Stand by. We'll check with you here in a minute. With the public hearing and being open, Jacob, did we have any calls for this ordinance?
We did not.
Thank you, sir. And Madam Clerk, any emails?
No, sir, I didn't receive any.
Okay, at this point, then I'll close the public hearing. And before requesting a motion on this ordinance, beginning with myself, each of the members is requested to indicate for the record both the names of persons and the substance of any ex parte communications regarding this application. An ex parte communication refers to any meeting or discussion with a person or a citizen who may have an interest in the decision which occurred outside the public hearing process. As before, I'll start with myself and then work my way down the list as it appears. So I have had none. And Ms. Dumont.
None.
Ms. Hoffman.
None.
Ms. Golding.
None.
Mr. Nichols.
None.
Mr. Doherty.
None.
Mr. Vogelsang.
None.
Did I miss anybody? Okay, thank you. Let's see, I already said that. Okay, here we go. Request a motion to approve the ordinance as read by title, please.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8149, amending PUD rezoning ordinance number 7765, governing the property located at 2520-2902 Isabella Boulevard by providing a new project narrative and preliminary development plan. Isabella Office Center PUD.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, and before opening the floor for discussion or questions by the council, please be reminded that our decision will be based on the criteria set forth in the Land Development Code, and the council is required to approve a clear statement of specific findings of fact, stating that the basis on which such facts were determined and the decision was made. So you're going to go ahead and open the floor to council members. Anybody have any questions or debate? Mr. Doherty, you're recognized.
Thank you. Heather, I just had a quick question regarding the new conditional uses. Do they have the same parking requirements as the existing uses? And do you foresee any problems with vehicles going into the residential neighborhoods by adding these conditional uses? Thank you.
Sure, happy to answer that. The change in uses doesn't change the parking requirement. It's a mix of uses on both sides of the street. So when you have multiple uses, it falls under what we would call a shopping center. There's a lot of offices in there. There's some medical labs, there's hair salons. It's a pretty large range of uses. So adding to them won't change the parking requirement. Again, we haven't received complaints about people cutting through neighborhoods in that property that I'm aware of. I actually drove through there very recently. There were actually a lot of vacant spots. So I'm not sure that they're using all of the parking. Most of them, again, are low intensity uses, a lot of offices back there. So it seems that their parking is adequate for the mix of uses that are currently there.
Yeah, so you don't foresee them having to apply for a variance, for example, if they opened up a gym or a school?
No, I don't. And I'm not sure any of those buildings currently support that type of use as far as size. You're talking pretty small office spaces,
Right.
Built out area of commercial.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks, Heather.
Rock solid laws over in that area, in smaller buildings. Any other questions or debate by the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Nichols,
I don't know why they didn't vote. Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes. Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and Madam Clerk, if you'd be kind enough, please read ordinance number 2020-8150, first reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance of the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending the employee benefits and leave policy, providing for an additional paid holiday, President's Day, providing for legislative findings, direction to amend city policy, repeal of conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's see. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I'll now open the public hearing for ordinance number 2020-8150. And do we have any, Jacob, anybody on the phone?
We do not.
Madam Clerk, anybody send an email on this one?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I see the ordinance is up. Do you want to talk about this, Mr. Stefopoulos?
I'll ask Deputy City Manager Nelson to introduce this item.
Okay.
Good evening. If you all recall, last year we brought to you an ordinance to add Christmas Eve as an observed holiday for city employees. That was based on a survey that we conducted of local area governments to compare our benefits, including holidays. For this request, we have updated that survey and provided that to you. It's on the screen. As you can see, even with the addition of Christmas Eve for the city of Jacksonville Beach, we still have a total of 10 paid holidays, where 5 of the 8 surveyed have 11. and 2 of them have 12. So we are proposing and requesting to add President's Day, the 3rd Monday in February, and in order to better put ourselves in a better position with our competitors in the market. This particular ordinance will authorize us to update the city's personnel policies, and then it will be incorporated by reference into our 2 collective bargaining agreements. And I'm willing to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a motion, please?
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8150, amending the city employee benefits and leave policy to provide President's Day as an official paid holiday for employees and staff.
Thank you. Oh, do we have a second?
Second.
We got a second and a motion, and we're going to open the floor to council for debate or questions. I say the great idea. Let's get it done, and let's get our team is, you know, on the same plane as everybody else, and see what the next one is that we can consider. Okay, Madam Clerk, go ahead and roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes.
The next day should be St. Patrick's Day, by the way. Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
There you go. Get that green beer going on.
There you go. COVID free.
We're in the final stretch here, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Clerk, if you would please read ordinance number 2020-8151, first reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 8 Cemeteries of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida Code of Ordinances by revising the title and amending Section 8-2, same, city clerk to maintain record of grantees, etc., and amending Section 8-3, disinterments molesting graves, by changing the reference from city clerk to Parks and Recreation Department, providing for adoption of recitals, severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. This ordinance is before the council for a public hearing and consideration on its first reading. I'll now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2020-8151. Jacob, any callers?
There are not.
Madam Clerk, any emails?
No, sir.
Okay, in that case, I will close the public hearing. Request a motion to adopt the ordinances read by title, please.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2020-8151, amending Chapter 8, Section 8-2 and Section 8-3 of the City Code of Ordinances to replace the city clerk as cemetery records custodian with the Parks and Recreation Department.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. The floor is open for discussion. Anybody have any comments, questions, or debate? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Demont,
Yes.
Golding,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and city manager or city attorney, do you have anything you'd like to, any announcements for tonight?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Nothing for me, Mayor.
Okay, guys, good meeting, long meeting. Thank you very much for all your hard work. Have a great night, and we'll see you shortly. This meeting's adjourned.